Hey everyone, it's Mike and Melody. I'm so excited to introduce to you today our new co-executive director of operations, Miche van Essen. We're so
Hi.
excited to have you, Miche. And so for everyone, we just really wanted to do like have a little short conversation and record it so that you can just get to know Miche a little bit more. We'll get started with a couple just questions. And first of all, would you
Sounds
like to
good.
just introduce yourself with your name, pronouns, where you're from, and anything else like you would like to tell us?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Mish, which rhymes with quiche. I always like to say. My pronouns are she, her. I was born in the Netherlands to an Indonesian mother and a white father, and I grew up very ambiguous, both Jewish and Pentecostal Christian, but in my memory, it's mostly Jewish. So, and I moved to America, I think in oh my everything. I just got the mess like on my phone this 11 years ago today. So I moved here 11 years ago exactly, like
Wow.
on the day.
Wow, how cool is that?
Yes,
That's
yes,
that's amazing.
right.
And I
And
really feel you with the kind of navigating intersections of ethnic identity and kind of navigating those things and that ambiguity and the questions, but also like the joys that come with that too. So yeah, I definitely
right.
resonate.
Yeah, right now I'm happy, obviously, but growing up, there was a lot of erasure happening of
Yeah.
like, don't tell people that you're Asian, don't tell people that you're Jewish. So there was like a lot of hiding, and later in life, we uncovered that a lot, and now it's a lot of. There was a period of like discomfort, I guess, and now it's just pride. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned like growing up both like Jewish and you said Pentecostal. So
Oh, absolutely.
um what like would you like could you tell us a little bit about your faith story, where you came from faith wise and also where you are now?
Yeah, sure. So I was born in a Pentecostal commune. I always like to emphasize that when I say Pentecostal commune, people think that I'm exaggerating, but it was an actual Pentecostal commune. People bought a city block in Amsterdam, and it was a Pentecostal church, and people lived there, and we had communal dinners. And when I was 5 years old, my father decided to explore his Jewish roots because he's also Jewish. And we moved to Israel for 5 years from 1987 to 1992. I just aged myself, but we don't talk about that. And for 5 years, my mother came out as Jewish, which is funny because that's how we call it in Judaism, coming out as Jewish and the coming out process. But she came out in a very orthodox tradition, so we never talked about Jesus, or at least not in my memory. My older brother has a different recollection than I do. And then when we moved to the Netherlands, we went back to that Pentecostal commune again. So that kind of explains how, for me, Judaism was very prevalent. 5 to 10, I went to Orthodox school, synagogue every week, etc., etc. And for my older brothers, they were just like, no, we're Christians. So it was very different in our experiences. But yeah, I felt more Jewish most of my life. And when I was 14, I grew up in a foster system. So I did not have that Christian connection anymore with my parents. And I just ended up going to synagogues. I studied Jewish liturgy, like sacred liturgy, and became a shaliach tzibur, which is kind of like a mini cantor, not quite a cantor. So yeah, it took me until I was 29 to find Jesus. And even now I say that I have found Jesus. Um, I still call myself Jewish, so that's my background. There was lots of back and forth of, am I a Jewish Christian, a Christian Jew? How does this work? And then I'm like, I am Jewish and I happen to believe that Jesus is the Messiah. That's my journey.
Thank you so much for sharing so much about your faith background and your faith journey.
Yeah.
I really like, I'm looking forward to getting to know your story more, from the little
Mm.
bit that we've talked about before. I think I really admire just your openness, your and the ways that you, um, are like, the ways that within that faith journey you've really sought to reconcile like tensions, and
Mm.
it's really amazing and admirable, and like I really just like want to know more about that. And so I'm excited. So
Yeah,
yes, for anyone, there is a meet and greet coming up. So you feel free to ask me more if you have more questions.
that's
And
right. I won't promise that I have all answers, because I'm still journeying as we are speaking.
I think, and that's a wonderful thing to remind, like for all of us, we are all on various different parts of our own faith journeys. And
Right.
so I think it's, yeah, like as much as feels comfortable and safe, like it's great to share and also to know that none of us really have all the answers at any time.
That's
So
right. That's right.
would you like to tell us a little bit about your gender journey, whatever you would like to tell us, whatever feels like safe for you, or what does that look like for you? And also, how is that potentially also, how is that intersected with your faith journey?
Oof. Yeah, pretty huge. I remember when I was very young, I asked things about anything LGBTQ related to my parents. But since they had that Pentecostal vibe, even when we moved to Israel and never talked about Jesus anymore, we did talk about hell, which is something Jews don't talk about necessarily. So it was like, what do you think of gay people? They go to hell. What do you think of people that want to be the different gender that they were born with? In my childish words at that moment, they would say, oh, they go to hell as well. So it was not a lot of conversation possible. And my earliest memory, um, and the only reason why have that I still remember this is because it's one of the few photos that I have of myself, is that my grandmother bought a dress for my cousin. And I was like, where's my dress? And she's like, oh, but Mish, dresses are for girls. And like, no, they are. So she was like, do you want to wear it before I give it to your cousin? I'm like, yes, I do. So she let me wear it and she took a photo, and I still have that photo. So it is very special, but my parents not fans. Let's put it that way. Yeah, that journey continued. When I was in a foster system, there was always girls around. They always did my makeup, and I always had like small little notes in my report about Miche, like Miche has a gender identity crisis, yada yada yada. So I knew something was up. And then I think later on, um, I had those conversations that so many of us trans folks have. Like my friends, my male friends would ask me, "Hey, Mish, um, what are your desires? What are your fantasies?" I'm like, "Oh, I always dream about being a girl." And they're like, "What?" I'm like, Everybody does that, right?" And they're like, "No, that's just you, Mish." So those stories have been coming up a lot in my teenage years. And after that, it's been 3 attempts of coming out. The first attempt ended up in conversion therapy. The second attempt, I paused because I was in a very good therapy streak, if you will. So I was really getting to a point that I was getting healthy. And I didn't want to use it as I didn't want to use my transition as a crutch, if that makes sense, to find happiness. Um, and then the last transition attempt is the one that I'm in right now. So I don't think it's an attempt. It's just I stepped down as a worship pastor of a pretty big conservative church in the Pacific Northwest. And my wife and I decided to take a break, and I ended up here in Richmond, where I live right now. And Richmond is extremely queer, very safe. And it took me like 1 month to think, oh, no, if I'm not working for churches anymore, this is the time. So my wife and I had a conversation, and that's 2.5 years ago now. I'm like, hey, I want to continue my transition.
Mm.
Lots of interesting conversation, but I am one of the few fortunate ones of having a very supportive wife when it comes to that. So yeah, hormones 2 years and 1 month ago, and we celebrated bottom surgery last April. Everything went really fast all of a sudden, but pretty excited. Yeah, I'm very happy in my skin right now.
That's so good to hear. Well, thank you so much for sharing so much about your journey, and so glad that this third like time through for you is you're
Yeah,
feeling whole, it sounds like, and like that sense of like peace and wholeness and home in your skin, as you said. So I
yeah,
that's
exactly.
wonderful to hear. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that with us. Um,
Absolutely.
well, lastly, I'd love to ask like just about TMC, like what excites you about being at TMC, about the work we do, about the work we might be able to do together. What kind of gets you excited?
So many things. I remember meeting you for the first time. We both study at PSR, um, and
Pacific School of Religion, for those who may
that's
not
right.
know.
Yes, and you were sharing a link to TMC, and I'm like, what is this about? So I signed up. I joined, I think, like 1.5 years or so ago, and I've been to a support group or two. I've seen on the Discord. First things first, being a baby trans, oh my everything, Reddit and regular Discord, it's it's a minefield. That's how it feels like. So TMC was a welcome place to actually still explore faith without having the negativity of faith, and it was just a little bit um more low key. So that was very, very nice for me as a person that also was part of the TMC community. But I'm also very excited about the work that TMC is doing and the work that we're probably going to do in the future, because this is a time where more people feel safe to come out. Way more. Obviously, they were there always, but there's way more people that are feeling safe enough to come out. And I just believe that if we can cultivate a safe space where trans and gender expansive people can explore their journey together with us, that is just awesome. That makes me very, very excited. And for the rest, yes, in my interview process, we talked a little bit about what excites me about the future. I definitely love the idea of just education and bridge building. I think you and I share the bridge building part very much. Unfortunately, bridges are used to walk on both sides, but they also connect groups, and I'm very, very excited to explore more possibilities to do that.
That's so great. I'm also extremely excited about that, and I'm so glad that TMC was there with you, alongside you in those early, especially the earlier years of this part of your journey, your gender journey. And I
Yeah,
love that we create these spaces and we're able to create these spaces, and to have that space where faith and gender identity, like it, we can talk openly and have those conversations, and it's a really beautiful thing.
exactly.
And I love the idea, the idea of education and helping build bridges and connect, and especially in the context of our current political climate, which unfortunately is
Yes.
really, really hard right now for trans folks. I think
Yeah.
the work that we're doing and that we're going to get to do together, which excites me a lot, is really crucial and critical right now. So
Yeah. Specifically in faith spaces
yeah,
where we can counter the narrative a little bit, turn it upside down, making
absolutely.
sure that loving God and love your neighbor. I know a lot of people use that as a baseline for their gospel, and I'm no different. Where we can show that love.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Miche, and thank you for everything, sharing so much of yourself in this brief time. If people want to get to know Miche a little bit more, Miche will be here for quite a while within TMC,
Yep,
and we will have a meet and greet November 8th, I believe, right?
I think
Um,
so. Yes.
yes, we will post the details in the description of this video. So please check the description down below to get details on that. And we'll also be obviously posting within the Discord and giving an opportunity for folks on our mailing list to get to know Miche a little bit more too. And so Miche, it was so great to chat with you today. And I'm so excited for everything that we're gonna get to do like together and the ways that TMC will continue to grow and expand.
Same, same.
All right, everyone. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.